All right, we're here in Miami, Super Bowl week. Ronnie Brown joining us. Ronnie, I say Super Bowl. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Opportunity. I never got this close, so to even be here, I think for a lot of these guys, a lot of the ones that have been around, but some of the younger guys don't understand, how important it is, and how to get here. I was a guy that never made it past the second round, so just gotta take it and enjoy the moment.
Even as it's approaching, is there still a tingle of you that wants to try and get out there? Do you still wish you could suit up and get in that game?
Yeah, absolutely. If it was this game, I'd probably tear everything, hamstrings off the bone and everything, just to participate. Because this is the ultimate goal. I think at the end of the day, you want to be a professional athlete, but once you reach that pinnacle, then it's about the championship. Being able to be an individual with a collective group effort and, participate as a team and win a championship. And, to have that opportunity to be this close to these guys, a few days away from getting the opportunity to win a Super Bowl, I think, sometimes we take it for granted, especially if you go into it and this is your rookie year and you go to the Super Bowl your first year, whereas, I spent 10 years in the NFL and never got past the second round. I only went to the playoffs, twice. So, it's definitely an experience, and, it's something that guys shouldn't take lightly.
We were talking earlier tonight about the idea of legacy, and the thought came up that before you ever get to legacy, you have to have the right mentality. Whether it's winning a Super Bowl or even just achieving your dream of being in the NFL, what do you think your mentality was to get you where you got?
For me, it was always gratitude. I understood growing up that there were a lot of people that aided in my success. And for me, some of the, outside of my parents, some of the most influential people around me were, coaches and teachers. And so, knowing that as you continue to progress and get through levels, whether it's high school to college, from college to professionals, there are a lot of people that, aid in that process and, give assistance. And so, I was always gracious in that. I always knew that it was bigger than me. And, so that was a motivating factor. And I just had a fear of failure. Like, I just wanted to keep going, and I always wanted to maximize my potential and get the most out of it. I may not have been the most talented, but, it was always in the back of my mind that I never wanted to allow anybody to feel like they outworked me. And I appreciated every opportunity.
It sounds like you spent a lot of your time working hard to get to be where you wanted to be, but we're asking everyone at the outside game, what did you do outside of the game? And what are you doing now outside of the game to kind of maybe stoke that competitive fire and still stay involved in things you love?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, self-discovery. Continue to understand and, elevate yourself and see what you like, pique your interest, and challenge yourself. If you want to get into different things, explore those things and take a chance at it. I think sports, being athletes, that's our comfort zone. So to be able to, go outside of that and challenge ourselves in a different area, I think that's always good because that creates opportunity for growth. But, at the same time, it's the networking and meeting people and continue to progress and grow in that way, because I feel the relationship is really how you grow, and getting different perspectives and getting people's different opinions about things. So, for me, outside of the game, it was just, challenging myself. So during my career, I was fortunate to be around good people, and then after my career, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and how, I wanted to grow as a person. I wanted to give back because I realized early that there were a lot of people that gave to me and participated in my success or successes, on each level. And so with that, I wanted to make sure that I continued to pay it forward. And so when I got out, I go back. I'm a part of Auburn. I do their radio. I'm a part of radio broadcast. So that gives me an opportunity to be around my alma mater, but then being around a lot of young guys who are looking to have that experience. And try to help and give them advice about that. But then outside of that, being a financial professional, working with athletes in that space, because I just realized there was so much that I didn't know, and I didn't know that I didn't know at that age. And so, challenging myself to try to figure those things out. And, it would be selfish of me to, run into certain hurdles and not give it to the next individual and, allow them to jump over those same hurdles. So, that's my goal now, is to kind of educate and empower a lot of the young guys coming out. Like, man, I understand where you are, the thought process that goes behind it, but here's a few things to look out for.
Last thing, a lot of guys getting ready for a big moment this Sunday. When you think back on when you prepared for a playoff game, or now in your second career, right, financial advisor, broadcast, what's one good tip to just get yourself ready to execute in a big moment?
I think the biggest thing is, I think there's two things. One is having an identity and a purpose. And so, the identity part of it is believing who you are, understanding who you are as an individual, challenging yourself to be the best and maximizing your talent. And then outside of that, having a purpose, understanding, what is your why? Like, why do you do this? What was the ultimate goal? And that's when a championship, for these guys, they're here, they're this close, they're at the stage. So, now it's just all about performance. So making sure that your habits match your goals, and you can't say that I want to achieve this goal but don't have the habits to match that. So, just understanding what you believe and believing in yourself, understanding your identity and having that purpose.
Ronnie Brown, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. Best of luck with everything else you're working on.
Thank you.